The Porsche Macan is built on the MLB VW platform. It shares a third of its underbody components with the Audi Q5, but even so, it drives very much like a Porsche. Along with the new Panamera, the 718 Cayman S, this is the third Porsche I drive, and all of them have similar driving experiences. Meaty steering, superb body control, and excellent handling. The 2019 Porsche Macan facelift. And we start at the back because this is where the biggest styling changes are. The taillights now stretch along the entire boot, a design element that's also present in the new 911, the new Panamera and Cayenne as well. I like the way it looks quite a lot. The 3D Porsche logo is quite cool as well. Let's also see the boot while we're here. This is where you open it from. Decent amount of space in here, should be plenty for a family that doesn't travel with all their belongings. Moving on to the side, this car sits on these lovely 911 turbo design 21-inch alloys. I like this a lot. And also air suspension. You might notice that this Macan sits lower than usual, and that's because it's fitted with the optional Sport Chrono pack that makes the air suspension drop to its low level by default. The car is finished in jet black metallic, not a color I would go for myself, as I think the Macan looks better in lighter colors. But anyway, let's move on to the front. And here you really have to be a Porsche enthusiast to spot the differences brought by the facelift. But let me quickly run you through them. First, you have the LED lights that now feature these four, not sure if you can see them, yeah, these four daytime LED running lights. The bonnet has been slightly reprofiled, and the corner air intakes are now bigger, and they have the turn signal integrated into the bottom over here. But that's kind of it for the exterior. Let's jump inside. So this is the interior of the new Porsche Macan. There's very high quality materials everywhere around the car, even down here for a change. So let me run you through this car's spec a little bit. This is an optional GT multifunction steering wheel with these absolutely lovely paddles right here. Look at them. Proper aluminum paddles. Not those plasticky ones you find in other cars. Then you have the Manatino switch here that goes from normal to Sport Plus and individual. And this button over here gives you a 20-second boost if you're in comfort mode and you want to do a quick overtake. These two dials are analog. This one is digital. Yeah, you have various functionality you can see here. You can see lap timer, adaptive cruise control, vehicle settings, radio, phone, and even a small map, which is quite cool actually. So, what did the facelift of the Macan bring to the interior? Well, this is the bit that's different. This is now a 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system, and because it's basically 2 inches or more larger than the old one, the air vents had to be moved from here to down here. And I think the overall layout is much better because of this change. The infotainment system is absolutely excellent. Everything is very responsive. The screen is bright. Colors are vivid. And down here, we still have lots and lots of buttons. But that's good because I personally hate having to go through various sub-menus just to get the temperature up in the car. This car also features the 18-way adjustable seats, and they are absolutely fabulous, let me tell you. They're very, very comfortable, but at the same time, they hold you in place very, very well when you're on it, basically. The only thing lacking in here is storage compartments. There's no place to put your phone. There's just these two cup holders that basically prevent the armrest from going forward, which is yeah, not good. So let's jump in the back. So I'm in the back seats of the Macan. The seat in front of me is adjusted to my liking, and it's a bit snug in here for fluffy old Paul. I mean, I'm not touching the driver's seats with my knees, but I'm very close to doing that. But I can't complain about the legroom. But what I can complain about is the headroom. My head almost touches the roof of this car. If it would have been like 1 inch taller, that would be perfect. But then you raise the center of gravity of this car, and that's not good because this is supposed to be a driver's car. But anyway, there's quite a big transmission tunnel over here. These are the air vents for the back seats, 2 USB ports, and yeah, if you have like 2 kids, I don't think they'll be disappointed by the way they sit back here. At least my 7-year-old son really enjoyed it. But that's kind of it. Let's see how this car drives. There's nothing really changed underneath this car in the facelifted Macan, other than some suspension calibration and new tire designs. But let's talk about this car in more detail, starting from the front where the engine sits. It's a 2-liter turbocharged petrol unit capable of producing 245 horsepower and 370 Newton meters of torque. That's the exact same figures as the Golf GTI Performance has, because it basically uses the same engine. But of course, Porsche wants to distance itself from calling it a VW engine, and they have fitted their own turbo to it and their own software to control it. It's mated to a 7-speed PDK transmission, and power goes to all 4-wheel thanks to Porsche's rear-biased all-wheel drive system. And that makes the car sprint from north to 100 km per hour in 6.5 seconds for the cars that have the Sport Chrono Pack on them, and 6.7 seconds, I think, for the standard cars. It's decently fast, but it's not an exciting engine to put into a Porsche. Power delivery is smooth, there's no sudden rush of power, and it's quite muted as well, even though it has those 2 giant exhaust tips at the back. It's not a slow engine by any means. It makes the car surprisingly agile, but how should I put this? It's not Porsche exciting. But what is Porsche exciting is this transmission over here. It's fantastic. I can't seem to find the right words to describe this transmission. It is incredibly fast, lightning fast actually. Just watch this, everything's in Sport Plus, and I'm shifting gears myself. It's insane how fast everything is. Upshifts, downshifts, no matter. It's like it senses what I'm about to do, and halfway through pulling the paddle, it actually does exactly that. Every time I jump into a Porsche, this is one of the things that I look forward to most. The other thing is the steering. The steering is sensational. Nobody does electric steering racks like Porsche does. And the difference lies in the way they feel. Porsche has managed to make the steering feel less artificial, and it feels like you're actually connected to the wheel and not to a system that's controlling the wheels. It gives you a great sense of connection with the car. It allows you to place it on the road very precisely, and it's very fast to react to your inputs. And even in this base Macan, the steering is weightier than in other cars in this class. And that might be an inconvenience when you're just trying to steer this car through a tight space, or for example when you're driving around town and you want to parallel park this car. And finally, there's the suspension we need to talk about. This Macan features the optional air suspension, and I'm happy to report that even though this car sits on 21-inch alloys, the ride remains perfectly smooth and the car deals with bumps in the road like they're nothing. In sport mode, the suspension stiffens up a bit, and there's actually two settings for how harsh you want the ride to be, Sport and Sport Plus. But I honestly can't really tell the difference between the two on these normal roads I'm driving on today. There's hardly any body roll, and you can correct any signs of understeer by using the throttle pedal to get the rear biased all-wheel drive system to send more power to the back wheels. But what about the not so great parts? Well, there's a couple, to be completely honest. First, we have the brakes, which don't really stop the car that well in its tracks. The brake pedal travel is too long for my taste. Then there's the storage space issue I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And finally, the pricing. At 56,000 euros, the base price of the Macan, it's more expensive than most of its rivals. Then there's the options. These 21-inch wheels, for example, are a 5,000 euro optional extra. I mean, they're gorgeous and all, but for 5,000 extra, you can buy a Macan S instead. So what's my take on the new Porsche Macan? Well, this is a crossover that can easily carry around 4 adults in the utmost of comfort and refinement. There's high quality materials all over this cabin, and it features some of the latest in-car technologies ever fitted to a car. But make no mistake about it, no matter how comfortable and refined this SUV is, at the end of the day, above all else, it's a proper driving machine. It's a Porsche. Thank you so much to Porsche Sweden for lending me this car for the weekend. It's been spectacular. Thank you for watching, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.